What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. This is my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC 315. We have Belal Muhammad going against Della Maddalena with a solid pay-per-view card coming up this Saturday in Canada. 12 fights on the card. It looked like it was going to be 11. We lost the best fight on the card, Joel Alvarez versus Benoit Saint-Denis, which absolutely sucks, but just got word today that Benoit Saint-Denis will be sticking on the card against Kyle Prepolec. So, yeah, 12 fights to work with. Really looking forward to breaking it down for you guys. Before we get into it, if you guys could do me a couple favors, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a very long way, and they are very much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, support me more, and get more of my content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll get early access to all my bets. Right now, I have a ton of bets. 5 bets right now. 4 of them are money lines, and you get access to the Discord where I'll get my betting alerts, the bet write-ups, the best bet article where I'll type up the fights, the prediction, the round, the method, the confidence rating, and the best bet for each and every fight, and just much more. And it's a great way to support me and a great way to check out more of what I'm doing kind of behind the scenes there. So check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. And yeah, looking forward to this breakdown here. 12 fights, a solid card. Looking forward to getting to it. It is a pay-per-view card, so although it's not the best pay-per-view in the world, we're going to be bringing back the Significant Strike contest. To enter the contest, like, subscribe, and then comment down how many significant strikes you think that Belal Muhammad and Della Maddalena are going to combine for. $25 to first. Whoever gets the closest, if there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. So comment down the significant strikes for the main event. But guys, it's time to get into it. And we're going to start with the first fight of the card. It is Bekzat Almakhan going against Katona. We got Bekzat Almakhan, who is 27 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 11-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Katona, 33 years old, 5'6", with a 64.5-inch reach, 14-4, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Almakhan opened up minus 250. He is currently sitting as a minus 185 favorite. As far as Katona, he opened up plus 170. He is currently sitting as a plus 160 underdog here. And so for me, we see it time and time again. These fighters come into the UFC and they perform well in a loss, right? And they perform well in that loss. And in that loss, their hype skyrockets, right? And that's what happened with Almakhan. This guy had one moment, one strike that, people think the world of this guy right now. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not fully convinced on Almakhan, and not to say he's not good. I think he's good. I think he's a very well-rounded fighter. I think the striking's solid. He is very low volume, but he does have power. He can wrestle, he can grapple, but at the end of the day, it's like he's not fighting the best competition outside of the Umar fight. And Katona is kind of similar. Katona's fought the much better guys overall, outside of Umar, of course. And Katona's well-rounded. Katona's a good striker, good boxing. I love the volume. I think he's going to have the volume advantage here. And then I feel like the wrestling and grappling of Katona is pretty solid as well. So I think these two are very well matched. I don't really understand the line here. I get that there is some hype on Almakhan, but at the end of the day, this guy Almakhan lost 14 minutes and 45 seconds of the Umar fight. I mean, that fight just really tells me nothing. So I think this fight's going to be very close. I think this fight's going to be very competitive back and forth. The power shots on the feet of Almakhan, the volume of Katona. I think the wrestling, grappling, both guys will have their moments. I think this fight's going to decision, and I think the fight is going to come into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges. And hey, we're in Canada, so give me the Canadian in what I think is going to be a very, very close fight. Taking Katona to kick off the card. Next, we got Daniel Santos going against Jeong Lee. We got Daniel Santos, 30 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach, 11-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Jeong Lee, 29 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach, 11-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We have Daniel Santos opening up minus 175. He's currently minus 120. Jeong Lee opened up plus 135. He is currently plus 100. And yeah, I'm not sure this fight happens. I'm not sure this fight's even going to happen, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be wasting time here talking about it, because Daniel Santos, I think he has some kind of sick, we all have our sick fetishes, right? Like I think Jessica Andrade is kind of hot, right? Well, we all have our sick fetishes, so that was a joke. And Daniel Santos, his sick fetish is just pulling out of fights. just pulling out of fights left and right. I mean, this guy's pulled out of so many fights. It's sickening at this point. And he's coming off of a pullout. I mean, he pulled out against Davy Grant like not too long ago, and now all of a sudden, Daniel Santos is coming in here at what should be one. I gotta fire my graphics guy. My graphics guy's been dropping the ball. He will be fired. I'm the graphics guy, so. Anyway, so yeah, he's coming up a weight class here. He has not fought at featherweight in like 10 years. This guy Santos has fought as low as flyweight. And most importantly, this guy Santos hasn't fought in 2 years. Like, what's he been doing? Has he had injuries? Like, why is he pulling out of fights left and right? I mean, it's insane. So now he's coming in here on short notice, up a weight class against a guy in Jeong Lee who he's not the best fighter in the world, but he is a skilled fighter. You know, he does have a lot of power. He does have really good striking, really good takedown defense, very physically strong, and just much bigger. I mean, he's going to have a 3-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage. He's been the much more active fighter. So I think there's a lot of things going against Daniel Santos, and quite frankly, I'm not even convinced he's going to even show up for this fight. But if he does, I got to lean the Jeong Lee side here. So I like Jeong Lee. Santos, he's very inaccurate on the feet. He is a dog. He is a dog. He has that dog in him, but so does Jeong Lee. I mean, Jeong Lee's down to, bite down in the mouthpiece and stand and bang as well. So I like Jeong Lee here. I'll take him to win by decision, but it wouldn't shock me if either one of these guys landed a big shot. And I could see like a couple knockdowns here or there, but I would say Jeong Lee gets it done, uses that size, uses that length, and I just think he's the better fighter. Give me Jeong Lee by decision. Moving on to the next fight, we got Marc-Andre Barriault going against Bruno Silva. We got Marc-Andre Barriault, 35 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach, 16-9, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Bruno Silva, 35 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, 23-12, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. Marc-Andre Barriault opened at -175. He's currently -150. Bruno Silva opened at +135. He is currently +130. And this is the official 1-800-Gambler fight of the week. Last week, I told you guys, Ponzinibbio, D-Rod, 1-800-Gambler. And what happened? People steamed Ponzinibbio all the way to like -150. Like, what are you guys doing? Ponzinibbio can't take a shot. And it's kind of the same here. It's like this is a fight where how can you trust either one of these guys? How can you trust either one of these guys? This fight reminds me of that South Park episode a while back where they had the election and they had to, vote between a turd sandwich or a giant douche. Like, both options are just atrocious, but you have to vote for one. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with here. I have to make a pick. Let me do this. Look at this. We got turd sandwich Barriault versus Bruno the giant douche Silva. Like, who am I going to pick? On the left-hand side, you got the turd sandwich, and the turd sandwich has no chin. The turd sandwich is coming off of a brutal knockout losses to Joe Pyfer and Dustin Stoltzfus. And you look at those fights, and it's like, typically, when you get knocked out, and you get knocked out brutally to the point where I thought Marc-Andre Barriault died in the Pyfer fight. I really did. You need to be taking some time off, but that's not what Barriault's doing. This will be his 3rd fight in like the last 8 months. That's not good. The way he got knocked out by Pyfer was one of the most brutal knockouts, face first into the canvas. This turd sandwich, he can't take a shot. Knocked out brutally by Dustin Stoltzfus, the grappler, out cold. I'm worried about Marc-Andre Barriault, and I'm worried about his chin. On the right-hand side, you have the giant douche. And the giant douche is Bruno Silva, a guy that literally does not want to fight. He literally does not want to be in there. And he even admitted to it after his last loss. He's 1-7 in his last 8 fights. After his last loss against Nardiev, he admitted to not wanting to be in there. And I could have told you that. And I have been saying that. This guy looks like he does not want to be in there. Every performance in these last, 5, 6, 7 fights of Bruno Silva looks like Michel Pereira when he fought Abu Smagomedov. Like, he doesn't care. He looks drunk. I'm not sure if Bruno Silva's like an alcoholic or what. He looks drunk. He looks terrible. And it's hard to pick a guy that literally doesn't want to be in there. So on the left-hand side, you have a guy in Marc-Andre Barriault who can't take a shot. On the right-hand side, you have a guy that doesn't want to be in there. I'm going to lean with the guy that can't take a shot in Marc-Andre Barriault. And although I say it's a 1-800-Gambler, I'm tempted to bet on Marc-Andre Barriault. I want to fade both these guys a lot, but most importantly, I want to fade Bruno the giant douche Silva. I mean, it's if you don't want to be in there, if you don't want to fight, and it's showing in the cage. Like, how can you back a guy like that? So at least Barriault, he wants to be in there. He's going to be in Canada. The crowd's going to be behind him. As long as his chin can hold up here, I think he makes it look pretty easy. So I like Marc-Andre Barriault. I haven't bet on him yet. God help me, but I might have to bet on him. We'll see. But give me Marc-Andre Barriault, and I'll take him to win this fight by second round knockout. I think he breaks the giant douche here. Up next, we got Navajo Stirling going against Yeong Erslan. We got Navajo Stirling, 27 years old, 6'4", with a 79-inch reach, 6-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Yeong Erslan, 33 years old, 6'2", with a 72-inch reach, 14-4, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We have Stirling open at minus 225. He's currently minus 265. As far as Yeong Erslan, he opened up plus 185. He's currently plus 225. Yeah, pretty easy pick for me. It's Stirling. I think this is a fight that's going to take place on the feet. Yeong Erslan's not really a guy that's going to go out there and look for takedowns, and even if he does, like, the thing about the city kickboxing guys is they all have very good takedown defense. Like, even the worst one, like Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond is going out there and stuffing takedowns. I think Blood Diamond's takedown defense was like 75-80%. Like, these city kickboxing guys, they're probably drilling takedown defense all the time, and it shows, right? So even if Erslan was to wrestle, which I don't think he does, I don't think he's taking down and holding down Stirling. So I think these two are going to strike. And on the feet, it's quite simple. Like, Stirling's just a much better striker, the much higher level striker. Kickboxing background, city kickboxing guy, solid power. You know, did he have the best performance against Tuco Tokos? Absolutely not. But hey, at the end of the day, I think he still won the fight like 30-27 on all 3 judges' scorecards. So yeah, I got Navajo Stirling here, and I think he eventually touches the chin of Yeong Erslan, who I just don't think is that great of a fighter. I don't think he has the best cardio. I think he's very hittable, and I think Stirling's going to kind of toy with him here a little bit. So I'm going to take Navajo Stirling to win this fight. I'll take him to win this fight by second round knockout. Up next, we got Aiemann Cutelaba going against Modestas Bukauskas. And let me do this. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. How cool. How cool is technology? We got Aiemann Cutelaba, 31 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach, 19-10-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We got Modestas Bukauskas, 31 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach, 17-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We have a straight pick'em here. Cutelaba opened up minus 125, currently minus 110. Modestas opened up plus 105. He's currently minus 110. So, very interesting fight. You know, on the Cutelaba side, you have a guy that, you know, typically very untrustworthy, a guy that is, you know, typically very hit or miss. But you kind of look through the career of Aiemann Cutelaba, and yes, he has a lot of losses. Yes, there are a lot of bad looks. But when he's losing to fighters, he's losing to either a high-level fighter like Magomed Ankalaev ×2, Glover Teixeira, Jared Cannonier, like even Misha Serkinov's a very dangerous guy, or he's losing to very dangerous guys. Johnny Walker, is he the best fighter in the world? No, but he's very dangerous. Ryan Spann, is he the best fighter in the world? Absolutely not, but he's very dangerous in round 1. So I'm just not sure Modestas is either high level or very dangerous. So if Cutelaba loses to Bukauskas here, just looking through the record of Cutelaba, this is probably going to be Cutelaba's worst loss in the UFC, if I'm being honest. So, and I'm looking at this matchup, and it's like, who's the more technical striker? Modestas. Modestas is the more technical striker, but Cutelaba, I think, hits a lot harder. I think Cutelaba's, although he's been finished a lot, I think he's more durable. I think he has the better strike and defense like Modestas. He's very hittable. I think he's very chinny. And we haven't really seen many people take him down, but when people have taken him down, he's stayed on his back. We saw Vitor Petrino take him down, and that was the round. We saw Tyson Pedro take him down twice, and that was pretty much the round. And Aiemann Cutelaba, he can wrestle. You know, Cutelaba's out there training with Sergey Spivak for this camp, and I feel like he just has a couple paths here. He could potentially knock out the very chinny Modestas Bukauskas, or he can take down Modestas over the course of 3 rounds as well. So outside of, you know, Modestas landing a big shot, and that's just not his thing. I mean, Modestas went 3 rounds with Zach Palga, the chinniest fighter in UFC history. So I'm just not sold on, you know, the power of Bukauskas. I'm not sold on him knocking out like Rafael Cerqueira. Just tells me nothing. So I like Cutelaba here. Again, very untrustworthy fighter, but I think he just has a lot of avenues to win this fight. So give me Aiemann Cutelaba to win this fight And I'm actually going to take him to win this fight by decision, just landing the bigger shots, doing a little bit more. And then ultimately, the biggest thing for me is just mixing in the wrestling. One of these guys is going to be able to mix in the wrestling, and that guy is Aiemann Cutelaba. So give me Cutelaba to win. Cutelaba to win by decision. There we go. All right. Moving on to the next fight. It is Jasmine Jasudavicius going against Jessica Andrade. We got Jasmine Jasudavicius, 36 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 13-3 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Jessica Andrade, 33 years old, 5'1", with a 62-inch reach, 26-13 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. We have Jasmine Jasudavicius open at minus 400, currently minus 470. Is she really minus 475? There's no way. There's no way she's minus 265. Let me fix that. Again, I gotta fire my graphics guy. He is shit in the bed. My graphics guy is just shit in the bed. 265. And what is Andrade? 225. I apologize, guys. My graphics guy is gonna get an earful after I'm done recording this shit. So anyway, big favorite regardless. And there was a quote from Jasmine that I think sums up this fight perfectly. And I saw this quote a couple weeks ago, and the quote from Jasmine Jasudavicius is, and I quote, "She does have holes, looking forward to filling those holes," and I can absolutely confirm that. Jessica Andrade, she does have holes. Sadly, I can confirm that. And her holes is the ground game. It's the takedown defense. It's her ground game off her back. Like, she's a black belt, right? But off her back, she looks like a white belt. It's very bad. I mean, Jessica Andrade, she's been finished 9 times in her career. 5 times by knockout, 4 times by submission, which is going to be a problem here against Jasmine because Jasmine's much bigger. Jasmine's going to look like 3 weight classes bigger than Andrade here. Jasmine's much stronger than Andrade. And when Jasmine gets on top, she can pound your face in. She can fill those holes, and she can snatch up a neck. We've seen her get 2 submissions in the UFC, really good front chokes, and we've seen Andrade submitted a couple times. So yeah, I think Jasmine can get on top here. I could see like a crucifix TKO. I could see, her snatching up a neck at some point, but what I do see ultimately is just pure domination. For Jasmine Jasudavicius to lose this fight, she's going to have to make a big mistake and strike for long periods of time on the feet. But if she wants to, and she does want to, take the fight down to the ground, fill those holes, and ultimately I think she finds a finish here. I'll say second round submission for Jasmine. I think she's going to pound away at Andrade and eventually snatch at that neck. Give me Jasmine Jasudavicius by second round submission there. Moving on to the next fight, it is Mike Malott going against Charles Radtke. We got Mike Malott, 33 years old, 6'1", with a 73-inch reach, 11-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Charles Radtke, 34 years old, 5'9", with a 72-inch reach, 10-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Mike Malott opening up minus 225. He's currently minus 210. Charles Radtke opened up plus 185. He's currently plus 180. And I look at this matchup, and I look at the line, and I struggle to see where Mike Malott is minus 210 here against Charles Radtke. Mike Malott, I don't know about this guy. Like, he's I think he's decent. Like, he's obviously a really good black belt if he can get the fight down to the ground, but I question his heart. I question his cardio. I question just his mindset. Like, this guy got broken by Neil Magny, and I think that just took a lot out of him, because we saw in his next fight against Trevin Giles, he won the fight, but it's like, it was awful. It was just an awful, terrible fight. Luckily for Mike Malott, Trevin Giles just didn't want to be there that night, and just nothing happened, and Mike Malott just outkicked him for 15 minutes, but I don't know. How is Mike Malott going to approach this fight? I don't think he has the cardio to go out there and wrestle Charles Radtke for 3 rounds. Charles Radtke, very physically strong, great takedown defense, and he's a black belt in his own right, training with guys like Belal Muhammad, right, on the daily. Charles Radtke's a very underrated grappler, so I don't think, Mike Malott's going to have a ton of success in the grappling. And then on the feet, I favor Mike Malott in terms of being able to win minutes, like he's going to be the bigger fighter. 1-inch reach advantage, and I do like the kicks. I like the kicks. I like the way he mixes it up to the head, to the legs, to the body. Charles Radtke, I do think, could be a little bit weak to the body. He has 2 knockout losses, both were to the body. So yeah, I like the striking Mike Malott here, and I think he can win minutes. But in terms of power, Charles Radtke has a ton of power. I think Charles Radtke is more durable as well. I mean, Mike Malott, we've seen him cracked, we've seen him hurt, and we've seen him broken. We've seen him pretty much quit in the Magny fight. So I think Radtke has a little bit more heart, a little bit more durability, a little bit more power. I think it's a very well-matched fight. So I'm actually going to take a Radtke here to win the fight, and it's that left hook for me. If that left hook lands, you're going to sleep, man. I mean, this guy hits so hard, and Mike Malott, he's super hittable. And I just don't think he has the best chin. And if he does get cracked, he's probably looking for a way out. So I'm going Charles Radtke here to win this fight. I do think somebody probably gets served here in this one. I think both guys, their durability is very sketchy, whether it's the chin of Mike Malott, the body of Radtke. But I think Radtke lands that left hook and knocks out Mike Malott in the second round. Up next, we have the main card opener. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash that like button for me. I do appreciate it a ton. Leave me a comment as well. We got Benoit Saint-Denis going against Kyle Prepolec. We got Benoit Saint-Denis, 29 years old, 5'11", with a 73-inch reach, 13-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Benoit, what's his face? Kyle Prepolec, 35 years old, 5'10", with a 70-inch reach, 18-8 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Benoit Saint-Denis open up -1,200, currently -1,200. These lines just released recently. Kyle Prepolec opened up +800, and he's currently +775. I'm pissed off. I'm super pissed off because, really? You couldn't find anybody else? Nobody else could step in? Nobody else could step in? Kyle Prepolec, really? This is stupid. This is really stupid. It's annoying. Like you could have made so many fun, cool matchups. Like even Mateus Gamrot offered to step in, and Benoit Saint-Denis apparently turned down the Gamrot fight, and he accepts a fight with Kyle Prepolec? Really? It's ridiculous. Yeah, Benoit Saint-Denis going to win this fight. He's probably going to win this fight in the very first round. He's either going to knock out Kyle Prepolec or he's going to take him down and sub him. Kyle Prepolec did fight in the UFC before. He went 0-2 and got cut. And then he did go out there and hasn't really been active. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, but against very, very low-level competition. Stepping in here on short notice, astronomical step up. I mean, Kyle Prepolec's going to get served here. So, yeah, Benoit Saint-Denis, I think he probably takes down Prepolec. Prepolec's been subbed twice. I think he takes him down and subs him pretty easy. Congrats, Benoit Saint-Denis. You get a win. You get a $50K bonus. And, yeah. Sucks, man. I really wanted to see Joel Alvarez, Benoit Saint-Denis, but instead we get to watch just a sanctioned murder that, quite frankly, shouldn't be sanctioned. And honestly, the commission should do something about that. I mean, like, really? Kyle, you couldn't find anybody else? You couldn't find it? I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, Saint-Denis submission round 1. Up next, we have Natalia Silva going against Alexa Grasso. Natalia Silva, 28 years old, 5'4", with a 65-inch reach, 18-5-1. 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Alexa Grasso, 31 years old, 5'5", with a 66-inch reach, 16-4 and 1 and 3-1-1 in her last 5 fights. Natalia Silva opened up a pick'em -110, currently -220. Grasso opened up -110, currently +185. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with Alexa Grasso. Apparently, she is she had an injury or some major injury. I'm not sure if it was before the Valentina fight or after. I think it was before the Valentina fight. And she showed up in that Valentina fight, and she looked just absolutely atrocious. 50-45 across all 3 judges' scorecards against Valentina. So I'm not sure if the injuries or what's going on with Alexis, but I did not like what I saw in the Shevchenko fight at all. Natalia Silva, she's the real deal. She's 3 years younger. She's in her prime. She's looking good. And quite frankly, she's just going to be the better striker. She's going to be the better fighter. The better fighter here. I like Silva to win this fight. I like her to win this fight by decision. Do I like her at -220? Not particularly, but I think she wins. I think she could even mix in some takedowns here. I mean, Alexa Grasso, her entire career in her last fight against Shevchenko, can't stuff a takedown. It wouldn't shock me if Silva was able to actually mix in some takedowns here if she doesn't like how it's going on the feet. But yeah, give me Natalia Silva here to win, and give me Natalia Silva to win this fight by decision. Up next, we got Jose Aldo going against Aiemann Zahabi. We got Jose Aldo, 38 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 32-9, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Zahabi, 37 years old, 5'8", with a 68.5-inch reach, 12-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jose is the favorite here. He opened up as a minus 145 favorite. He's currently minus 220. Zahabi opened up plus 125. He's currently plus 185. And yeah, I don't know about this one. Like, this to me is a very, very tricky fight. Like, I don't get these odds at all. Just how I'm looking at this fight. Like, with Zahabi, this is a guy that's been very inactive throughout his entire career. But at this stage of his career, he's been a little bit more active. And I've been a kind of a Zahabi hater. Like, I've picked against Zahabi, I kid you not, his last 5 fights. And he won all those 5 fights. And why did I pick against Aiemann Zahabi? Because it's hard to pick him. Or at least it was, because he's so low volume. He's very frustrating to watch, but he's also very frustrating to fight. I don't know if you guys remember that Ricky Turcios fight. Ricky Turcios went out there and attempted 235 total strikes. He only landed 27 of them. Ricky Turcios had an 11% significant strike accuracy. Zahabi's a very frustrating fighter, very tricky fighter to deal with. Aiemann Zahabi has a 71% striking defense. Like that, I don't think there's... I think it's going to be hard to find a better striking defense than 71%, especially over a sample size like this with Zahabi, a guy that's been fighting in the UFC for about 8 years. So very hard to hit. And like I said, he's very low volume, but his last 2 fights, I feel like he's really starting to put it together. Like at this late in his career, he's really starting to put it together. That Javid performance was his best performance to date. Javid was like a minus 900 favorite. Zahabi looked incredible in that fight. And then he goes out there and against Pedro Munoz, and that's an even better performance. I know it's Pedro Munoz, and he's getting up there in age, but he looked incredible. For the first time in Zahabi's career, he was high volume. I mean, I never thought in a million years Zahabi would ever land anywhere near 100 significant strikes, but he didn't. So now I'm looking at this fight, and I just see a fight that takes place on the feet, and I see a very close fight. I think both guys are a little bit low volume at times. Both guys can be a little bit hesitant. We know Jose Aldo has those leg kicks, but he hasn't used his leg kicks in 10 years. It's going to be a fight that is, I just think, very, very close. I don't understand this line. I don't know. I don't know. I get it. It's Jose Aldo. This guy is an absolute legend, but he's 38, and we're in Canada. This fight's probably going to decision, and the fight is going to come down to the crooked, blind, drunk, corrupt judges. It wouldn't shock me if Zahabi won a close decision, split decision here. So I'm actually going, and this is going to be a very unpopular pick, I'm going to take Zahabi to win a very close competitive decision. I would be shocked if either guy ran away with this one and looked like anywhere near a minus 200 favorite. I would be very shocked. I don't think anybody's getting finished. I don't think anybody's grappling. I think it's going to be a very close striking fight for 15 minutes. So in that case, I'm taking the very big dog and Zahabi, the hometown guy, to get it done and get it done by decision. Up next, we have the co-main event, flyweight title on the line. It is Manon Fiorot going against Valentina Shevchenko. We got Fiorot, who is 35 years old, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach, 12-1 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Valentina Shevchenko, 37 years old, 5'5", with a 65.5-inch reach, 24-4-1 and 3-1-1 in her last 5 fights. We got Manon Fiorot, who is the favorite. She opened up minus 120, currently minus 150. Valentina opened up plus 100, currently plus 130. It's a tricky fight here because I thought Valentina was done. I thought she was completely done, prior to the Grasso fight, and she went out there and had a great performance. She looked incredible. But was that more so, Valentina is still Valentina, or was it Alexa Grasso just looked absolutely horrendous and she was coming off of an injury and a layoff, or I don't know. But it was a great win. Great win, 50-45s across the board. But this is a much tougher matchup. Manon Fiorot, very high volume striker, incredible striker, and elite takedown defense thus far. Manon Fiorot has a 93% takedown defense. I love the movement on the feet. The big cage here does help her out, able to use that movement there. And she's very physically strong, very strong hips. Fighters are not able to really take her down. And if they do take her down, Manon Fiorot is a very good grappler in her own right. We don't really get to see it, but I think she's a brown belt. And that's a big thing she's been working on throughout the latter half of her career is that grappling. So even if Valentina does take her down, it's like not one-way traffic, nothing like that. So on the feet, at this stage of their careers, I favor Fiorot here. But it's a tricky one, because would it shock me if Valentina did go out there, made the striking exchanges close and competitive, mixed in the occasional takedown and won a close decision? No, it wouldn't, but at this stage, I am going to go with Manon Fiorot to win a close and competitive decision. I do think it's going to be close. I know she 50-45'd Blanchfield, but, Blanchfield is not Valentina Shevchenko, and Blanchfield also came in there with a very poor game plan, and I think Blanchfield only attempted like 2 or 3 takedowns in 25 minutes. Very, very puzzling game plan, whereas Valentina, very smart fighter, great fight IQ. I think she will try to wrestle, and we'll see whether or not, I think it comes down to whether or not Valentina is able to get takedowns consistently here. I'm leaning towards a no, but if she does, she could win. So I'll take Fiorot here. Not a ton of confidence, to be honest, but I'll take Fiorot to win by decision. Do want to remind you guys, if you guys have not already, sign up on PrizePicks. Use that code DFSBTN. You'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Whether you win it or lose it, you'll get $50 instantly into your PrizePicks account. It helps me out. It helps you out. Go get some free money. Use that code DFSBTN. And before we get into the main event, if you guys have not commented down your significant strike numbers for this fight, Belal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena, how many significant strikes do you think that these two are going to combine for? All right. Welterweight title on the line. Belal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena. We'll start with Belal. 36 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 24-3, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jack Della Maddalena, 28 years old, 5'11", with a 73-inch reach, 17-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We have Belal Muhammad. Weird seeing it, but he's a favorite. Opened at -175, currently -205. Jack Della Maddalena opened up +150, currently +175. And yeah, I like Muhammad here quite a bit. I see a ton of love on the Jack side, and I'm hoping this line comes down, because I'm not like it's hard to lay -200 on Belal when this guy's been the underdog his last 5 fights. So it's weird seeing a minus number next to his name, but I absolutely think he has all the tools to win this fight and win it pretty convincingly. On the feet, Jack Della Maddalena is an incredible striker. I love the volume, really good power, but we've seen him taken down 8 times by the ghost of Gilbert Burns. And then you go back and watch that fight, and it's like, this guy was on his way to losing. If he doesn't land that knee in the 3rd round, he was on his way to losing a 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. Not all 3, 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards against Gilbert Burns. The shell of Gilbert Burns. I went back and looked at the scorecards. 2 judges had Gilbert Burns up 20-18 after the first 2 rounds. That's not good. That's not good at all. That was his last fight. Has he improved his takedown defense since then? Probably not. And then the Basil Hafez fight, it's like you're going life and death with Basil Hafez. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. You have to score the fight for Jack Della Maddalena, right? If we're talking, damage over control, but that was a split decision. You're going to a split decision with Basil Hafez, who I'm not sure if he's cut yet, but if not, he's probably getting cut very soon. So it's like, Belal Muhammad has all the tools to win this fight, and I think he will fight smart. He has great fight IQ. The only way I see Belal losing this fight is if he fights just a horrible game plan. And he went out and on Twitter, he's saying that, he's not going to attempt 1 takedown in this fight. Okay, that's fair. If Belal Muhammad doesn't attempt 1 takedown, all the value is on Jack Della Maddalena. But why? Why would that be the game plan? So I think he's lying. I think Belal Muhammad's a liar, and I think he will go for takedowns. But yeah, we'll see. I think if he's going to go out there and pay off this price tag and look -200, he's going to need to wrestle. I think he does. I think it does. I think what he's saying is I think it's just a lie. We see these fighters lie all the time. Like we see Muslim Salikov. This dude Muslim Salikov, he says he's 40 years old. Muslim Salikov's an 80-year-old man. This guy was born back in the 1930s. Muslim Salikov's a liar. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, a great example. Rozenstruik says he's 6'3". Rosenstruck's 5'10", 5'9". I mean, these guys lie all the time. Belal Muhammad, he's lying. I mean, Belal Muhammad's not going to strike with Jack Della, and if he does, he's an idiot. So give me Belal. Give me Belal. Give me Belal to win this fight by decision. There you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys could do me a huge favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. If you guys want to check out more of my content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Have 5 bets thus far, 4 moneyline bets, looking to add another moneyline bet, looking to add a total, and then looking to add maybe two money. I might add 2 more moneyline bets, actually. Got a lot of spots sticking out this week. So be on the lookout for the rest of the content throughout the week. Best bet show will be, I think, midweek this week, because I'm heading out of town for the weekend, so might do the best bet show midweek, so look out for that. Betting breakdown video might be out a little bit earlier than usual as well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, turn on the post notification bell to not miss out on the content, and best of luck for UFC 315. I think it's a great card, fun card, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.